Celebrity Buff here, and there was one actor that I was very curious to know what happened. I remember as a kid, I watched many movies with him in it, and he seemed like he was in one movie every year, and then another year he would come out with another movie. But then all of a sudden, he just vanished. Vanished from the face of the earth. He was suddenly gone. However, there's this awesome computer tool called the internet where you can look up people, and also if you want to join PETA, you can do that too. Here is Rick Moranis. Rick Moranis was in many great films that I grew up with, a lot that are classics to this day. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, Spaceballs, The Flintstones, Little Giants, and one of my personal favorites, Ghostbusters. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that one. We're not going to talk about the second one. He was in that, but we're not going to talk about that one. Let's move on. Rick Moranis was in many great films. He was born in Toronto, Canada, and started his career as a disc jockey using the name Rick Allen. He teamed up with Ken Finkelman, a writer, director, and starred in a few pilot shows, one show called Midweek, and another called 1980. Soon after, Moranis had a busy film career, such as Spaceballs,
I can't breathe in this thing!
which is a comedic version of Star Wars. If you haven't seen Spaceballs, I recommend that you do. It's cheesy in a lot of ways, but the great thing about Spaceballs, it's not over the top like many comedic films are, especially films that are based off another movie. It's funny, it's entertaining, it's cheesy, but yet it doesn't drag on. It gets from one point to the other and the story flows. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty funny. And Rick Moranis playing Darth Vader, I mean, how's that not funny?
What? You went over my helmet? Well, not exactly over, sir. More to the side. I'll always call you first. It'll never happen again. Never, ever! Oh, shit. No, please, no, not that. No, please.
Yes, that.
He also was busy with Ghostbusters, which, like I said, this is one of my favorites, about a group of scientists that come up with the equipment to capture ghosts, and Rick Moranis playing a neighbor of Sigourney Weaver, who somehow gets possessed by a ghost dog, I guess, as does Sigourney Weaver. And now it's up to the Ghostbusters to save Rick Moranis and Sigourney Weaver from being a ghost dog and return them to normal.
Help! There's a bear loose in my apartment! Help!
A bear in his apartment. There's gotta be a way in here. I gotta get. Please, somebody! Let me in! Nice doggy, cute little pooch. Maybe I got a milk bone.
If you haven't seen Ghostbusters, this one I highly recommend. It's funny, it's entertaining, and original. They don't make movies like that anymore. In fact, they actually make reboots.
Look, I know it probably sounds like we're making this up.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy. We probably don't really look like legitimate scientists.
No, you only lack the proper equipment, like a garbage truck to hang on to the back of.
He also did a movie called Little Shop of Horrors. This movie was real good due to the fact that it was about a man who raised a plant that was an alien, and majority of the movie is singing, but yet entertaining. The only downside of this movie is that it is long, real long. They could have cut down on the music that played throughout the entire movie, but it is still good and worth watching. I say if you have a few days that you are doing absolutely nothing, this is a good one to check out.
Every household in America, that's what you had in mind all along, isn't it?
No shit, sir.
We're not talking about one hungry plant here. We're talking about world conquest.
And I want to thank you.
You ain't the only thing I ever loved. You're a monster, and so am I. It's gotta end. It's gotta stop right here.
Better wait a minute. You better hold the phone. Better mind your manners. Better change your tone. Don't you threaten me, son. You got a lot of gall. We're gonna do things my way, or we won't do things at all.
And of course, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Basically, Rick Moranis playing a scientist who shrinks his kids. Then they have to go from the yard back to the house, but they are little and tiny, so the yard seems like a jungle. And Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Rick Moranis, being the scientist, makes his child, who's a baby, a giant, and has to find somehow, some way to bring it back to normal. His film career really started taking off. Sadly, his wife, Ann Balsky, who was a costume designer, died of breast cancer in February of 1991. Now, it is sad when anyone dies of any cause, especially of illness, cancer. But what makes Rick Moranis awesome is he chose his family over fame. When his wife passed away, he decided to postpone his acting career and raise his children instead. He hasn't quit acting, just put it on hold for a while. He did state that being a single parent and traveling to do acting would be too difficult. However, many people, instead of choosing family, they would choose fame, fortune, money, riches. Rick Moranis, he chose his family, his kids, over all of that. However, he has been doing music. He released an album titled Agoraphobic Cowboy featuring country music, which was nominated for a Grammy. And he has done voiceover work. In 2003, he voiced Rut, the moose, in Brother Bear.
Oh, let's beat it. This way.
No, this way.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay, just stay still, eh? And
Hey,
I'll
you
just
too.
move my-
Head down, head down.
Oh, gee, I think you've seen us, eh? Now what?
Act like we're not here.
He says he does plan on coming back to acting, but he is selective on the roles he takes. He was offered a role to come back for the Ghostbuster reboot, but he turned it down. Rick Moranis, I am very anxious to see the great movies that you will be starring in, and I will be here waiting and watching. I'm Celebrity Buff. I'll be here again with another celebrity on what it is that makes them awesome.